everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is Green Spirit. So today I wanted to make a quick video. I have been away for approximately a month. This has been due to a couple of factors. First of all, I am in school, as many of you know, and so that has obviously been taking up some of my time. In addition, I went ahead and took a trip earlier this month of October to Indiana. And number three, I'm going to be honest, I've been battling a bit of depression. So it's made it very difficult to try to get on here and make videos. I can't promise that having made this video that I will be making more videos right away. My circumstances besides the trip to Indiana hasn't changed. I'm still in school. I'm still battling depression. In fact, I've decided that next semester I will be taking a semester off to try to get myself back to a better place mentally and emotionally and even physically. So, but I did want to go ahead and get on here because this is a subject that is very important to me. Today is October 30th. And it is a day obviously before Samhain. I do celebrate Samhain or Halloween. However, I am Mexican, and Dia de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead, is very much a part of my culture, and I do try to celebrate it by creating an altar space and leaving offerings for my deceased. So I wanted to kind of give you a small tour of my altar space. Typically, traditionally, you would put out food offerings for your deceased loved ones, things that they enjoyed, full meals, you know, if you're alcohol, that kind of thing. I do incorporate some food elements, but as I have a smaller altar, there's only so much food that I could put on here. In addition, you might notice that certain things are missing. That is like the traditional like Day of the Dead bread or skull bread or pan de muerto in Spanish. I do have some and will be incorporating it into my altar, but just a little bit later today and the next couple of days. So there will be some food missing obviously, but it does go on here traditionally. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video now and go ahead and flip you so you guys can take a look at my altar, and I will discuss some of the things that are on here. In addition, I have been, well, I tend to, when I'm feeling in the depths of despair, I tend to do a little bit of shopping. It relieves some of my stress, so I have been accumulating a couple of things, and I hope to do another haul video soon. Again, I don't know when exactly that will be, but another haul video will be coming to you relatively soon. So there might already be some new elements on here. If not, that's a video that you guys can look forward to. So without further ado, here is my altar. Thank you. Okay everybody, so here is my altar. I am going to go ahead and go a little bit at a time through it. So let's first start. I've gone ahead and, as you know, here is my Guadalupe. Guadalupe, Our Lady of Guadalupe, is very intrinsically part of Mexican culture. She is my matron goddess. I've gone ahead and decorated her here with some glittery black fabric to kind of give her an archway. And then some of the things you might recognize is I've got my little colorful kind of Mexican angel here. I've got skulls all over, these little plastic skulls I've got at the dollar store a couple years ago. And then I have some sugar skulls. Now that's kind of funny. So my mom went to Mexico a few years ago and brought me back a couple of sugar skulls. This one and this one and this little tiny one, and then this one right here, and it broke. And I mean, she brought them back. They're really little, and I thought I can't ever eat these because I don't know when I'll be able to get sugar skulls again. So I haven't eaten them, but I've had them for several years. As you guys know, I moved to another state relatively, well, it's within the last year. It's almost been a year here in January. But yesterday I found in a city that's about 2 hours away from where I live, I found a bakery that sells Day of the Dead bread, but they also sold sugar skulls. So I went ahead and bought some. So here's one of the large ones that I purchased yesterday, and here is a couple more and a couple more. Yeah, so that's what I've got. The next thing I have here is I purchased these little kind of reliefs at Michael's. They have like a mariachi with a guitar and then a beautiful folkloric dancer. If you guys don't know anything about the Day of the Dead, you should know that Mexican people, we kind of make fun of death. We don't give way to grief or sorrow. I mean, obviously when someone passes away, you would typically feel, you know, the normal aspects of grief, but we know that there is positivity in death, and so we tend to do it in a very comical, very friendly way. So you'll see a lot of skeletons depicted in a friendly manner, not in a grotesque manner. Here I've got an apple, because traditionally on a Mexican altar you would have food offerings of fruit such as apples and oranges. You'd also have favorite dishes of your deceased, favorite drinks such as tequila or something like that. Here I've also got another image of the Guadalupe. You guys have seen that before. This is a portrait that I painted, gosh, back when I was still in high school, which I think I must have been 15 or 16 when I painted this marigolds, and I've used it as a backdrop. I've got here some Palo Santo incense. Well, it's actually the wood, but this burns. And then another kind of another integral part of a traditional Mexican altar is copal. This is what copal looks like. It catches fire. It's a resin, and copal is one of the things that you should put on your Day of the Dead altar. It's very traditional, it's very cleansing, and it's very related to the spirit world. Obviously, I'm not gonna go ahead and zoom in too much on the pictures that I have here, but I have some pictures of deceased relatives on here. I've got my aunt on there. This I'll show my grandparents. This is just a piece of cardboard that I decoupaged a printed image of my grandparents. I put some flowers behind them. I've also got pictures of my husband's grandmother and aunt, who, well, his grandmother passed away this year, and then his aunt passed away several years ago, and I've got another picture of her and another aunt. I've also got, here's my skeleton. You guys have seen this guy before. I got him at Michael's earlier this year. Here's a candle that I actually found at the dollar store. It was the only one that I found that had sugar skulls, and it says Dia de los Muertos on it. This is also a new addition right here. I found this awesome bride and groom. I believe I found it at TJ Maxx, but I just fell in love with this beautiful couple here. You know, they're celebrating their wedding best. And then also here, you guys have seen this skull candle before. I had thought about decorating him, but I decided to leave him as is, and I probably will not burn this candle. Here are some mariachi, traditional Mexican mariachi skeletons. playing the song for the dead. I've got a bunch of school beads all around my husband gave me. Here I've got a spirit quartz going on. And then I've got, as far as food offerings thus far, well, okay, so let's back up a little bit. So first of all, traditional elements of a Mexican altar would be copal, okay, water, because if you can imagine your family traveling such a long distance from the other world, they're probably thirsty, so you want to go ahead and place some water out for them. Also, a traditional flower is the marigold. Now, I do have a fresh marigold that's still hanging out from my summer potted plant garden. That's hanging on, and I'm hoping it hangs on for a couple more days so that I could put some fresh marigold petals all over my altar. Marigold, or cempasúchil, which is the word, how you say it, I believe, well, it's like Nahuatl, I believe is the language, is the traditional flower of the dead. The reason it is so prevalent and so important is because it's believed that the scent of the marigold is something that attracts the dead to your home. So a lot in Mexico, what they would do is they would decorate the altar with many marigolds all over the place. In addition, they would create paths from the outside of their home up until the altar as a way to lead the spirit to your home. So that's another traditional thing that you would have. If you notice here, I've got some salt. Now, I obviously am not Catholic. Having said that, salt is a very traditional part of a Mexican altar, and it's typically put in the shape of a cross. I have gone ahead and created a cross as well, but mine is an equal armed cross to symbolize each of the four directions. In Mexican Catholic culture, it's typically done as a Christian cross, and obviously salt is purifying. So typically you have your traditional elements would be the water, the copal, the marigold, incense, salt, and I don't know if I already said water, which I've got all my elements here with the addition of fruit. And another popular and very integral part is these paper papel picado. It means cut paper. These are actually not paper. These are made from felt. I got these at Michael. So I have in the past made them myself. However, this year I saw these and I couldn't resist because they were just so pretty and intricate that I went ahead and use these instead. Traditionally, you would have this papel picado as a symbol of air, but also as a symbol that the spirits are with you. When they start blowing on their own, you know that the spirits are with you. Some of the temporary food elements that I've got here right now, traditionally in Mexican culture, I'm going to go ahead and sit a little bit here so you guys can look at the whole thing. The Day of the Dead is celebrated primarily on November 1st and 2nd. However, there are other days where this is celebrated, and I believe it depends on the region that you are from. Now, when we think of the dead, we think of them kind of like all-encompassing, but the days themselves, each day celebrates a specific aspect of specific deceased. So for example, if you start on October 28th, you would be celebrating the people who passed away due to an accident. On the 30th, for example, you would celebrate those babies that died before they were baptized, according to tradition. And then on October 31st, you would celebrate the children who have died. in my personal aspect, if you notice here, I've got 2 juice boxes, I've got some candy, and if you notice before, I had some toy cars put on here. The reason for that is that in my personal life, I had 2 brothers that died shortly after they were born, and I've always known about them. They were both born prematurely, as I was as well, except that I lived. And I've always felt them very close to me. I've always thought they are with me, and I do experience 2 spirit orbs that I've seen in the physical, but they also show up a lot in my pictures, and I have always believed that these were my brothers. And in addition, I went and actually spoke with a very well-renowned medium, and she confirmed to me that they are the spirits of my brothers that are still with me and have chosen not to reincarnate, but instead stay put as guiding spirits. So every year I typically put either milk out for them. This is the first year that I put out juice boxes, but I did put some juice boxes, some candy for them, and some little toy cars. And then in addition, you have on November 1st, you would celebrate All Saints Day. So pretty much the saints themselves, if you're Catholic, but in addition, pretty much anyone else who has died of other causes or normal causes, that kind of thing. And then typically November 2nd would be the day that the spirits depart and you say your goodbyes. So the Day of the Dead goes on for a couple of days, so my food offerings will adjust for each of the days. Right now I've got them set up for my brothers. For my grandfather, I have already set out some of his these are whether they're actually Japanese, I have no idea, but we call them cacahuates japoneses, translated to Japanese peanuts. These are a Mexican treat that he really enjoyed. Again, I'm going to be putting other food elements for each of my relatives out here later on. And also, you can also, if you've never thought about this, behind this I've got a collar of one of my kitties that I was very attached to. And not that I wasn't attached to all my kitties that have passed away, but this is something that I actually possess of him, and it's his collar. And my son had the idea to go ahead and put out food for my kitties who have passed as well, so I've got some kitty food here. So if you don't have any family members themselves that have passed but you've had pets, you can go ahead and do this. My son has an altar set up himself, and he is going to be putting kitty food out for them, as well as he lost a goldfish this year, and his name was Hero, and he said that he's going to put out some fish food out for his fish that passed away as well. So basically that is pretty much the extent of my altar. I know this sounds a little bit rushed, but I hope you have enjoyed kind of taking a look at my altar and the different elements. If you guys have questions regarding the Day of the Dead, you can leave it down in the comments. And then also I wanted to say thank you to all my new subscribers. I did notice that I had a kind of an inundation of new subscribers, and I really appreciate you guys enjoying my content and subscribing. Again, I don't know when the next video will happen, but I will try to get here as soon as I can. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you I hope you all have a wonderful Samhain. And for those of you who choose to celebrate El Día de los Muertos, or the Day of the Dead, I hope you guys have a wonderful Day of the Dead as well. So thank you for watching. You guys have a wonderful season. Blessed be. Goodbye.